welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be 4 looks with 4 palettes. So I have all 4 of the Odens Eye palettes. I know a lot of people picked these up. They were really popular this year. I think that this was one of the more popular holiday releases, and I'm finally getting around to doing a video on this. So in today's video, I'll be doing swatches of all 4 of these palettes, and then I'll be doing a first impression look with each one of these. So this is going to be a long video. Hope you're ready. Sit down, have a snack. But if that sounds good to you, if you like palette videos, eyeshadow look videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet, but really, I know this is going to be long, so let's just get started. The first look we're going to go into is the Hey Reindeer palette. So let's start out with the Hey Reindeer palette. This is the one I'm probably least excited about, so that's why I kind of wanted to start with it. I am just a little bit confused by this color story. I'm going to throw up the swatches that I did with this just to get an idea of the color story before I did my look. And the shimmers are really pretty. Honestly, if the shimmers weren't so pretty, I may have decluttered this palette or kind of thought about decluttering it. But the shimmers are very nice, very impactful, very sparkly. It's just the mattes that, for me, don't really make sense with the palette. Like, it is kind of Christmassy, but I'm struggling deciding what kind of look I want to do because I know I want to use this shimmer as well as this shimmer here, but like, I just don't know what mattes to use. And maybe that's just me not being advanced enough with color story, but I have to imagine that I'm not the only one like that. So I'm just gonna pull you in. We're gonna try and figure something out together. Like I said, I want to use this shimmer, which is Bells, and then Wreath. I definitely want to use both of those. I'll probably do Christmas Ham in the corner, and I'm toying with either like using this matte or this matte. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to pull you in closer. I think I decided I want to go more of the blue matte route. So I'm going to start with Holly, and I think I'm going to put that all over the lid and then maybe deepen it up with this chocolate brown shade, which is Snowish. These shades are hard to see, the shade names, with the background of the palette. Now, I am trying something new with my lighting. Hopefully it's decent enough where I don't have to scrap this footage. It may not be perfect, but hopefully it's a step in the right direction. It's just a little bit tough for me with lighting since I wear glasses. I have to make sure that it's not reflecting too much off of my glasses. And I'm just gonna put this all over the lid really. Now, I did set my eyes. I used my soft matte concealer, and then I did powder on top of that because I don't like such a sticky base. I find it hard to work with. And the shade's not too bad. I'm mostly trying to concentrate the color up in my crease, not so much on my mobile lid because the shimmer will be there. I just don't want it as deep as it looks in the pan, and that's what I was worried about. But this light blue, which is cider, it's swatched like almost white, so I don't want to use that as the crease shade. Now that I have Holly down, I'm going to go in with Snowish. It's just a matte chocolate brown, and I'm going to put that on the outer corner. Try and make this a little bit more neutral. I don't want too much. I kind of just want to add some depth. I might even add Holly on top to just kind of bring back the blue. I'm really just going to work on blending and shearing this out. Like I said, I'm going to go back into that Holly shade, place that on top of the brown to hopefully kind of make it more of a darker blue. I'm just going to tap it just a little bit. Just blend slightly. because while I like neutrals, I do want this to still represent the palette. I think that's better. And I'm also gonna apply this holly shade to the lower lash line while I'm at it. And then I'm just gonna connect that with Snow Wish on a little smudger brush, just a tiny bit. So I do want to add more blue, and I'm going to go in with this cider shade, the very light blue that I talked about. And just off the bat, it does have a lot more kick up than some of these other pans. I was a little bit surprised by how much powder just came up. So clearly the mattes aren't the same formula, but I'm really just going to use this to kind of just diffuse the edges a little bit. And then we'll go in with the shimmers, which will be the fun part. I actually really like that. I think that it kind of almost made the outer corner blue, which is what I wanted. It kind of really made the holly shade come through. So now for the shimmers, like I said, I know I want to use Bells and Wreath. Bells is a little bit more of a taupe. Wreath is more of a purple. I'm just deciding which one I want to do inner and outer. I guess I'll do Bells on the outer half and Wreath in the center. And since I already have these on my finger, I'm just going to go straight in with my finger, and then on this eye we'll use a brush sprayed just so I can see the difference with the shimmers. For me personally, I just like my finger. I find it easier to control. I don't always have long nails, so that's usually not an issue for me. And I also find that it looks smoother on my eye versus a brush. Sometimes with a brush, it kind of looks like a little chunky on my lid, maybe because I'm just applying too much. But I don't like that look as much. The shimmers in this palette, I already said it, but they're so pretty compared to the mattes. So no fallout when I used my finger. I'm now going to use a brush, and I'm first going to go in with Wreath since that's kind of the lighter one. I'm going to spray my brush for that and just see if you can use a brush if you prefer that with this formula. And I will say that when I swatched these, I was a little bit surprised about how sheer the shimmers were compared to what's in the pan. Like, for example, the shade Presence is actually kind of a sheer shade, and it looks like it'd be a very heavy metallic shimmer. Still no fallout with the brush when it's sprayed. There's Wreath. Let me just add, I'm just gonna flip this over and add Bells. I also don't like it. Like, I feel like it's getting all crumbly in here when I go in with a brush. Maybe I need to press more. I just don't like that because with the liquid and then going back in, I don't know, it's just not my favorite, but I know a lot of people like to use a brush. I kind of did get a teeny tiny bit of fallout, so I'm going to see if I can brush that away, but I may have just loaded my brush up too much. It did brush away pretty easily. There's not too much glitter under my eyes. I feel like I need something brighter. I kind of want to go in with Christmas Ham, but this is like a pink iridescent, and I need something else, like something cooler. Maybe candy canes, kind of like a gold shift. Here's Christmas Hams, which is super flaky textured. I'll press it down. That looks very much like a lot of fallout. I guess I could do Christmas Ham. I'm just gonna be very gentle and apply that because I was gonna put that in the inner corner. So maybe apply this just where these two shades meet, and then on the inner corner. basically just pop this in the inner corner. The shade's a little bit tough because it is just so flaky textured. It's not a great inner corner shade. We're gonna make it work. Maybe if I go in with my pinky. So, a little better, but I feel like all the fallout I didn't have, now I have. We're gonna embrace it. Like, I don't know if you can see just right here, but you know, I wear glasses, so that should hide it. I think this is gonna complete this look. I'm gonna go add liner and mascara and then show you the final look. Here's the final look with liner and mascara. I only tight lined with black, nothing special, then added mascara on. But you'll have to tell me what you think. I don't know why I'm so indecisive about this palette. I kind of feel like the eye looks just a little bit muddy. Maybe this is not a 2 shimmer look. Maybe I should have only done 1 shimmer versus 2. I don't have the real estate for 2, and that's what's making it look muddy. But there's just something where like, I feel like you can't see the details that much in the eye look. But let me know what you think about this look. That's gonna complete the Hey Reindeer palette. Let's now go and talk about the snow days. All right, it's a new day, and today we're going to play with the Snow Dream palette, not the snow days, which I think is what I called it yesterday. So this palette, I definitely just off of initial view liked the color story more. And here is what this one looks like. It's just a little bit softer. It's more Christmassy to me. I do wish that it kind of had a iridescent white instead of this matte white, but I understand that the 2 palettes need to look a little bit different. I'm now gonna throw up my swatch photo of this, and we're gonna just do a quick look. It might be a little bit boring because I'm a little bit pressed on time. I'm going to the Christmas market after this, so I don't think I'm gonna do anything too crazy, but this already, like, I just see so many more looks with this than the Hey Reindeer palette. This palette, at least I see mattes that go with shimmers. Even they don't even have to be cohesive mattes. Like, I could put this green here with this neutral shimmer, like even the green, the tones, the undertones are the same with the shimmers, whereas I don't feel that with the Hey Reindeer. But now that I've shown you the swatches, let me just zoom you in and we're gonna get started playing with this palette. Like I said, I'm a little bit pressed for time. That normally does not happen, but I think for today's look, I don't know, we're gonna see where it takes us, but I definitely wanna play with like these 3 mattes maybe, this shimmer, and I wanna keep it light. I was thinking this shimmer, but it's a little bit dark, so maybe I'll go in with this one. And I might just play around with a matte inner corner and try, what is this? Goodwill, just to see how it looks. I can always put a shimmer on top of it if I really dislike it. So let's just get started. I think I'm first gonna go in with Boots, which is kind of like a peachy brown, and just lay this down. Just like yesterday's look, I have my Nars Soft Matte Concealer down, and I powdered and set that just because I don't really like a super sticky eye primer, I've discovered about myself. And I'm not gonna be too precise with this, just kind of get a little bit of color down. Now I'm going to go in with Boots, which is like the mid-tone brown, and I'm gonna start to kind of just define my crease, or just where I want my crease to be. Add a little bit of shadow and like contouring, so my eyes look a little bit more receded. I'm not really adding this for color, I'm adding this more for shaping. Same brush, I'm going to go into Guests, which is the red, and I'm gonna do that to deepen up my outer corner now. And I think I will take that green on the lower lash line, and I really do wanna keep this a little bit concentrated. I wanna make this Christmassy without screaming Christmas, at least that's my hope. So I want the edges to be blended, but I don't want it to be super, super blended. I realized I tend to sometimes overblend shadow, so I'm trying to get better at that, where you can kind of see the individual shades. Plus we're gonna be putting a glitter on top of that anyways. I wanna do the green on the lower lash line before I go in with the shimmer, so I'm taking Ornament. I'm gonna run that under the lash line. I'm gonna have to clean up this outer corner just a little bit, I think. And then just to kind of meet the lower and outer corner, I'm gonna take this shade, which is kind of like a reddish brown, and it's the deepest brown. I'm just gonna take more of like a fluffy pencil brush and try to kind of connect the lower lash line with the outer corner just a little bit. And I'll probably use that shade to line as well, so it matches just a little bit more. But I'm really going in lightly. I just don't want it to be a harsh line between the two. We are now ready for the shimmers, so I'm just gonna use my finger because that's what I like to do. I'm gonna take Sweater and Hugs. So here's Sweater, here's Hugs. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about Sweater because it's a little bit more goldy than I want, but I think I'm just gonna tap just a teeny tiny bit, like on the outer third, but really have Hugs be the main shimmer. So kind of just over that red. And then I'm gonna take Hugs, put that all over, open up my eye, and have it be, I mean, this is Christmassy. I said I didn't want this in your face Christmas. I feel like this is a little bit in your face Christmas. That's okay. Right now I'm filming this before Christmas. I know you're gonna be seeing it after, but that just means it's appropriate for when I go out today. All right, I'm really liking how this is looking. I can tell you already the mattes are much more pigmented than in the Hey Reindeer palette. And I don't know if it's because the Hey Reindeer is just a little bit more pastel-y. The mattes are lighter, but I feel like the payoff's better overall, the quality's overall. I'm hoping this isn't a mistake, but I'm going to take Goodwill and put it on my inner corner. I'm gonna do it very lightly. Just have a little bit of a matte inner corner. It's not too much, it's not too bad. It's better than I thought. I still probably would have just used my highlight, but it's okay. And then I think now I'm just gonna line my lash line with that red brown shade, and that'll be pretty much it for this look. Kind of wish I just had like more of a deep chocolate brown like in the Hey Reindeer, but again, I would rather there not be repeat shades. I could always just go in with a brown liner if it really bothered me that much. And then this is the completed look. I am just gonna go off camera, apply mascara, kind of fix the liner a little bit, clean up the outer corner, do a little bit of detail work, and then I'll be back to show you the final look. And here is the final look with the Snow Dream palette. Definitely looks better now that I cleaned up the outer corners a little bit, but I'm really, really liking this look a lot. I think it's pretty Christmassy, I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like it's not too bright and in your face. It's one of my favorite looks I think I've ever done. That's just out there, out of the box for me. I'll see my lights reflecting up my glasses. But I'm really overall just happy with this look. And this is the same quality that I'm used to with Odens Eye. You know, it's hard not to be a little bit biased because I haven't been seeing good reviews. I'm a little bit late to reviewing this, so I've already seen some of the talk about these palettes, and I know that they're not everyone's favorite, so I wasn't expecting to like this as much, especially since yesterday I did the Hey Reindeer, but pleasantly surprised with this one. Now, tomorrow's look, I think I'm going to play with the Merry Christmas, and I'm gonna save the Christmas Eve palette last, only because that was the one that I was looking forward to the most. Hopefully we're just like on an upward trajectory with these palettes. So I'm gonna let you go and I will see you in tomorrow's look. New day, new palette, and today is gonna be all about the Merry Christmas palette. So here is what the outside looks like. We're not gonna stay on this too long since this palette is over a year old, but here is what the inside looks like. And I do like this. You know, I think last year when I saw the two palettes, this was what was kind of holding me back, and the fact that I just wasn't fast enough to purchase these last year. But, you know, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of the same way as I am with the Hey Reindeer. It just seems a little bit not cohesive. I'm gonna throw up my swatch photos of this palette, and the thing that surprised me the most is a lot of these shimmers are very deceiving in pan. Like, for example, Elf Wish, which is that first shimmer, it is a lot more sheer in the swatch than it is in the pan. In the pan, it looks to be this really bright electric green. So I think today I'm going to kind of play with these greens here, this kind of little quad, because yesterday I did more of like a red and gold, and tomorrow's definitely gonna be more with blues since that's the Christmas Eve, more cool toned. So I don't wanna really do the reds. I don't really wanna do this teal. So I think we're gonna stick more to this quadrant. So let's just get started. I'm gonna jump right into it and start with matcha cookies, which is the perfect description for this. It is very much a matcha shade, just kind of like a darker green. It is not the electric green that's in this palette. And I'm going to really just kind of tap this all over the lid, almost as a base. And I do still just have my Nars Soft Matte Concealer down, and it's powdered, so that way it's not too sticky. I'm just gonna work on blending this out. It really doesn't have to be perfect. I kind of just want to really have this showing to make it known that it's like a green look. There's no question, because I'm a little bit concerned about how Elf Wish is gonna look on the eye. While it looks very green in the pan, it does not swatch that way. And now that I have matcha cookie laid down, I'm gonna take a different, just big fluffy blending brush and go into Best Wish. That is the kind of pastel-y neon green in the palette. And I'm going to just blend out the edges with that shade. And I think I'll just mimic that on the lower lash line, keep it pretty easy here. So going in with matcha cookie, I'm gonna run that really close. And then I'll go in with Best Wish and kind of just diffuse it, blend it out. Don't want too much of this electric green on the lower lash line. I just want to blend out that matcha shade. I'm really liking how this base is looking so far. I don't know if it screams Christmas, but I do like the tones. I think now I'm gonna go into the shimmer. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go in with Elf Wish all over the lid and Snowman here in the inner corner. This is a really pretty shade, like I said, very sheer, but it kind of has like a green sparkles to it. I think that'll be really pretty in the inner corner. So those are the two shimmers I'm going to use. I'm going to keep this look pretty simple. Okay, that is definitely more green on the eye than in my swatch, and maybe that's because of the base mats we used. I'm not mad at it because I was expecting something a lot more sheer. I'm actually pleasantly surprised because I thought you wouldn't even be able to tell the colors that I used in this palette. Okay, pleasantly surprised with that. And I'm going to put this on the other lid. And finger is just my favorite application method. I know not everyone loves that, but I don't have long nails right now, and I just find the most control and the least amount of fallout. If I was doing my eyes first, not my base, I would maybe go in with a brush or something like that, but this way just works for me. And now for the inner corner with Snowman. I don't know if you'll be able to see the details of this shimmer since it's in such a small spot, but it is a really pretty shade in the palette. One of my favorites, I think, in this particular palette. It's just like a subtle color, neutral with some subtle green. I like it a lot. I think I am going to just lightly line with the black in this palette. This is the only palette out of the 4 that has a black, which is called Happy Endings. And I don't know, I might be making a mistake with like black and green, but we're gonna try it. I'm gonna not make too much of a line, but just add like a little bit of definition. Okay, I do like that. And a teeny tiny bit on the outer corner as well. Yeah, that's nice. It just kind of thickened up my lash line. Here's the look with liner and mascara on. I mean, it's green. This would be really nice for like a Grinch themed party, I think. It's Christmassy. I don't know if I personally would wear this for Christmas, but I don't hate the look overall. Like I would wear this maybe on a day that's not Christmas. I really like just the undertone of this green. It's electric without being too electric and neon. For me, this is like a very wearable neon. So here's what it is, and this was super fast to do. I mean, this is my shortest video so far as of right now, so it did not take me long to do at all, and I really enjoy that. I'm going to save all my thoughts for the end of the video here, but this is the look with the Merry Christmas palette. There's one palette left, which is the Merry Christmas Eve, so let's jump into that palette. It's officially time for the 4th and final palette, which is the Christmas Eve palette, the one that I was looking forward to the most. So let's just take a look at this color story. And there's a lot of blues, a lot of golds. I'm going to throw up my swatch photo here. And I think it's very obvious that the star of the show is ironically the shade Blue Star, the very last shade. It's like a very, very bright jewel toned blue with a black base. It's absolutely stunning. And I'm very excited to be diving into this palette. Yesterday, I was kind of thinking I was going to do more of a blue look because this is a blue palette. I think though, after just kind of looking, I want to do more of like a cool tone purple. I'm thinking I'm going to use this matte here, which is Nowhere. Christmas Eve, I think I have to use, and then I want to use Wonderful and Gorgeous as my 2 shimmers. So it's going to be like a bluish purpley look with some taupe in there, I think. That's kind of what I'm going for. I do have to film my Will I Buy It after this, so I don't want it to be too dark and sultry. I know I always say that, but I just don't want it to be too dark. So let's just see what we come up with. I'm going to scoot you in closer. We're going to get started. Let's just jump right in. And I'm going to start with Nowhere and kind of use that all over my lid like I did yesterday. Just set this down as a base. As always, I have my Nars Soft Matte Concealer. and it is set with powder. I'm just kind of tapping and placing this shade. It's kind of like more of a taupe, but a purpley taupe. And I think while I'm at it, I'm going to take the same shade Nowhere and just kind of put that on my lower lash line. Not super concentrated, just really blended and smoked out, because this is just going to be my transitions shade. Quickly taking Ice Crystal, which is the light true matte gray in the palette. I'm just blending out this edge really quickly, just to kind of bring the shadow a little bit higher, open up my eyes, and just create like a seamless transition. I don't want to put too much of this. And then just to make this a little bit more festive, I'm going to take Christmas Eve, and that's what I'm going to kind of deepen up the outer corner with. I'm hoping that this is like a soft buildable matte, because I don't want it as deep as it is in the pan, but I'm going to start slow. Kind of like with, I think it was look number 2 where I did that red with the gold. I kind of want there to be like a peak of blue, but not too much, just stab my eye. Yeah, and it is a little bit more sheer than it is in the pan. You can build it up, so that's nice. It doesn't get out of hand too fast, because I can sometimes go a little bit too quickly. I can sometimes be impatient. And now that I've tapped this where I want it, I'm going to take a different blending brush that has no product, and I'm just going to try to soften it a little bit, not make it so harsh. But I do want like a distinct difference with the blue. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because I'm going to be putting shimmers on top. And I can always touch it up once I see how everything looks. Just kind of like dragging that color into my crease to just add more of almost like a contour and make my eyes look more deep set. I know it looks a little bit scary, but it'll work out. And then I'm going to just add this to the lower lash line. I did pick up a teeny tiny bit of product on my brush. Now we get to take the shimmers. So I'm going to take Wonderful and Gorgeous, which are here. This is Gorgeous, this is Wonderful. I'm thinking I'm going to put this on the outer half, Gorgeous, and then Wonderful on the inner part. I think we've established I like using my fingers, so that's what I'm going to do. I don't know if I want to put too much of that Gorgeous shade. It's not like the purple I was going for, so I'm just going to like tap that on the outer corner where that deep blue matte is, and it will also brighten up that matte a little bit more and go really well with the blue. And then I'm going to take Wonderful and put that primarily on like 2/3 of my lid. Hopefully, I think these shimmers go okay. This is looking so pretty and glowy. I don't know what I want to put in the inner corner though, because the Snowflake shade is pretty silver, and Silvery Dream is like too dark. Maybe I'll go in with Snowflake and just try to lightly put that in my inner corner, just for a little bit extra sparkle. Just like that. So I have something, but it's not too silver. Yeah, that's fine. And maybe I just bring this on the lower lash line on the inner part. Don't normally do that because I feel like it just looks like I have fallout on my face when I do that. It's not bad. here's what it's looking like with all the shimmers on. I think it looks really pretty, almost like mermaidy Christmas. I don't know. I definitely need to line those. So I'm going to use my black apply mascara and I'll be back to show you the final look. And here we are with the fourth look with the Odens Eye Holiday palettes, the Christmas Eve palette. I do really like this look as well, and everything performed beautifully. I have no fallout. I'm happy with this look. I think it's really pretty. Here it is with my glasses on. It's a super simple look. I don't think it was anything too technique-wise very advanced, but it still looks impactful in my opinion. But now that we've done 4 looks with all of these palettes, I'm gonna scoot you out and try and gather up my final thoughts. I think we'll go backwards in the ways that I did the looks. So starting off with the Christmas Eve palette, very happy with this palette. I overall am glad that I finally picked it up. And you know, this is a good formula. Someone did mention, I don't remember who it was, but when they saw the Gourmand Girls Silent Night palette, it reminded them of this palette, and then I instantly saw it, which was a little disappointing because I already ordered that palette. So I probably will do some comparisons when that palette comes in to this palette as well. However, no complaints. I really like this look. It's not something I would normally do, but again, just like some of these other palettes, like even with the Merry Christmas palette, when I did that green look, it's bright color without, I feel, just being like summer neons. And I really like that. For me, this is a very approachable way to color. As someone who maybe doesn't wear color every single day, can be a little bit intimidating for me. Now, the Merry Christmas palette, I will say, has the same formula as the Christmas Eve. I do agree with a lot of people who are saying that. The mattes are really buildable in both of these, and the shimmers feel like almost a cream eyeshadow. So it's very easy to apply on the lid without getting any fallout, especially for me who likes to apply my shimmers with my finger. I don't get any fallout because it's just like a press and swipe and it stays on your lid. With a brush, I found I did get some fallout. If you spray a brush, you're gonna get less fallout. But for me, I like a finger, and I find that's the best way to apply these. I know not everyone likes using their finger. Going into the Snow Dream, this might have been my favorite look that I did, but only because it was the most Christmassy look out of the 4. And I have mixed feelings about that because I don't want necessarily a palette I'm only gonna wear around Christmas. I want a color story that maybe it's like cute theming and goes with holiday, but that I can pull out any time of year and still be able to have a look that's not necessarily just a Christmas look. However, I do really like this. I wish that there was more of a inner corner shimmer shade. I said that when I did the look, but other than that, like, this is a very cohesive color story. It's Christmassy without being too in your face. And no surprise, the Hey Reindeer palette, like, I struggled with. As someone who doesn't consider them like a very visual person, a very artistic person, I just had trouble with this color story. Individual, I like all the colors. I love this kind of matte. I love this kind of matte, this kind of shimmer. I mean, like, this blue is maybe my least favorite, and this orange actually. Like, if those two colors weren't in the palette, like, I do like the colors, I'm not seeing as many looks as I am with the other 3. I did find these mattes to be a little bit more hard pressed, and the shimmers maybe not as impactful. They almost seem like, even just looking at them, they almost seem like they could be prone to hard pan. I don't know the technicalities. I don't know what's different with the formula, but I can tell a difference. I don't think it's the worst quality. For me, this is just more of a color story problem, and the fact that the shimmers in here are not true to pan. Like a lot of these shimmers are just more sheer, which probably goes back to the formula. It doesn't look like it does in the pan, unlike last year's holiday palettes where they really do. They're very opaque and just pigmented. They look like they do. You know what you're gonna get. Whereas these, I remember swatching them before doing my looks and just being really surprised at how the shimmers swatched. Let's just get into the entire point of this video though, and that is if I would recommend these. And I think I have to agree with the majority that I would recommend these two depending on which color story you prefer. Going back, like if I was to remake this decision, spending my own money on these, I would purchase the Christmas Eve palette. And would I purchase this one? I would not purchase this one. I don't think that I would get as much use out of the Merry Christmas palette. I liked the look I came up with, but we're talking about like my own wallet here and cost per use. I just don't think I'd get my money's worth out of this. The Snow Dream, I think I would pick up. I do really like this palette, and the Christmas theming gets me. I think I would use this more than the Merry Christmas palette. So if I was spending my own money, again, doing this over, these are the two that I personally would buy based on the formula being good and based on just my preferences liking color story. Again, this is a first impression though. I've only used these palettes one time, so I do need to play around with them more. I'll be including them in some kind of palette ranking in the future once I do that and get more thoughts. So I don't know. I'm just debating like whether I would pick up Snow Dream or Merry Christmas. So once I play around with it more, I'll let you know, but definitely Christmas Eve is my favorite. I just think the shimmers are so beautiful, so ethereal. There's still, I could probably still get like some kind of Christmassy look from here, but I definitely see Christmas more in the Snow Dream palette. But I'm gonna, keep this as short as I can because I'm sure that the looks just really lengthen this video. I would love to hear your opinions down below. Did you pick up any of these palettes? Did you fall into the hype? I think that Odens Eye personally just rode off the back of their really, really popular Christmas release last year and didn't do their best this year. I'm not these aren't the worst palettes I ever tried, the Hey Reindeer in particular. I just think that formula is different from Snow Dream. But I do kind of think they slacked a little bit and they could have done better. But really, I would love to know your thoughts, whether you picked these up, whether you skipped them, which one just intrigues you the most. If you were to pick just one, let me know down below. Of course, let me know which look you like the best, because that's always interesting to me to see what my favorite look was versus yours. And that's where I'm gonna leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.